is Jennifer Seavey, and I'm the Executive Director of Shoals Marine Laboratory, which is jointly run by the University of New Hampshire and Cornell University. We are located on Appledore Island, which is about 7 miles down the Piscataqua River and out to sea in the Isles of Shoals. And on that island, we host Celia Thaxter's garden, which Celia Thaxter was a famous inhabitant of the island in the 1800s. She was actually the daughter of Thomas Layton, who built a grand hotel on Appledore called the Appledore House. And she was the host of this hotel, and she actually was also the host of an art colony that grew up around the hotel, using the hotel as its sort of center. And she was famous for many things. She was a poet and she was a gardener, and a lot of her poetry is actually based on the garden. And she wrote this book called The Island Garden in the late 1800s, and it was based on this incredible flower garden that she had in front of her house on the island that Shoals Marine Lab has restored. In the 70s we started restoring it, and we to this day restore it to the very template that is in this book. At the end, if you want, or I can look it up right now. Put it right next to that. 1894. And in this book is a schematic of the garden. And this is how we plant the garden on the island. So there's numbers that refer to particular plants. Interestingly, she writes things like lilies are number whatever. So we actually had to do some research, and we have a wonderful garden steward. Her name is Marie Nickerson. She's a master gardener at UNH, and she's a UNH marine docent. She wears many hats. But she did a lot of research on what does that mean in the mid-1800s. What kind of lilies would Celia Thaxter have had? So we've done a lot of research to find the heirloom varieties of plants that grew in this beautiful garden. And this year, because of COVID, we knew that we were going to have to cancel our public events on the island. Just is not safe for that. So because of that, well, I should back up and say, we knew we had to cancel our public events, and yet we were growing all of the flowers for this garden with Rolling Green Nursery, which is a local partner that helps us with the maintenance of these plants. So we had all these flowers growing, and yet we were closing the island. So we were looking for a partner to help us with all of the plants. So we're standing in front of what's happening in Prescott Park, which is a city of Portsmouth park. And they worked with us and Rolling Green, and we recreated the annuals part of the garden that Rolling Green had planted and are growing for us here. And we brought the sign that normally lives on the island here to help interpret what's happening behind these 3 beds. So these 3 beds have the heirloom variety flowers that are normally planted on the island with our restoration of Celia Thaxter's garden. And here it's really an inspiration of Celia Thaxter's garden, but it's so wonderful that it's on the mainland because anyone can come here. It's free, it's got interpretation, it's a wonderful place to get a taste of what the garden was like. So we hope that we get back to business next summer and that we can open our tours again, because it's wonderful to see the plants here. It's also really wonderful to experience the garden in its original place and its original setting. So we hope to get back to that next summer and invite the public on those tours as well. But in the meantime, enjoy this. This is a wonderful way to sort of get to know it and then maybe come see it later. So our website is the best place for information. It's www.shoalsmarinelaboratory.org. You can find a lot more information about the history of the island, the history of Celia Thaxter, and our garden tours.